Welcome everyone to another episode of the Shaman's Way podcast. As always, this episode comes from the teachings of our amazing friend and shaman in residence, Kriket. We hope you're enjoying these podcasts as much as we enjoy making them, and I'd like to take just a moment to ask you if you would please leave us a rating and a comment in iTunes or whichever podcast player you're listening to us from. Giving us a rating and sharing this podcast with others is the biggest way you can tell us that you like our show. Now, without further ado, on with the episode.
Hail and hello, my constant listener, and welcome to the new listener. Welcome to the new ears. This is a requested podcast on Spider. I am going to share with you a little bit of what I think about Spider. To me, Spider is definitely grandmother. And I know that there are stories of the creator Spider, so I'm going to share mine. Old Spider woman, thinking woman. Umaya long ago, the spider was in the place where only she was. There was no light or dark. There was no warm wind, nor rain, nor thunder. She was a great, wise woman whose powers are beyond imagining. No medicine person, no conjurer, shaman, witch, sorcerer, scientist, or inventor can imagine how great her power is. Her power is complete and total, pure and cleaner than the void. It is the power of thought, we say, but not the kind of thought people do all the time. It's like the power of dream, but more pure. Like the spirit of vision, but more clear. It has not shape or movement because it just is. It is the power that creates all that is, and it is the power of all that is. In that place where she was alone and complete with her power, she thought about her power, how it sang to her, how she dreamed from it, how she wished to have someone to share the song dream with her. Not because she was lonely, but because the power's song was so complete, she wished for there to be others who could also know it. She knew this was the power's wish, just as it was hers. For she and her power were together, and of one mind. They were two, but they were the same thing. So she thought to the power once, and knew a rippling, wrinkling within. Then she knew that she was old and wrinkled, and that the power's first song was a song of great age. The wrinkling became tighter, more spidery, strongly. It became in one place. She named that place Northwest. She knew the wrinkling had folded up on itself, enfolded on itself. She knew much of the universe. The great power was contained within. Later, the earth would be ripples and wrinkles, spidery lines of power, folded and unfolded into a tight, moving shape. And it would also hold the great power within, like a mother holds new life. Others would also imitate this time. Walnuts and acorns, apples and pineapples, cactus and mountains. Even the oceans would be like that. And humans, 5-fingered beings, would grow wrinkled in their skins and brains in honor of this time when she and the power made a song to to form a new life, new beings. She was so happy with what she knew, so full of awe at the beauty of the song, that she thought again. And again she knew the rippling, the wrinkling, the running of spidery lines along the edges of the forming pouch of the power song, the folding and infolding into the shape that held the power of all that is within. She knew that the place of the pouch, that bundle of her thought, her song, was in the northeast. So humming and singing, she shaped them. That's how the directions came into being, how the seasons came to be. She thought in her power to each of the bundles and continued singing. She sang and sang. She sang the power that was, the power that is everywhere and that has no name or body. But that is just the power, the mystery. She sang, and the bundles began to move. They began to sing, to echo her song, to join it. They sang their heart song, the same as Spider's heart song, the heart song of great mystery, the power that moves. The psalm seemed to deepen as she heard other hearts singing. The song seemed freer, it seemed stronger. The two who rose up from the bundles with their singing, each had a bundle of her own, and in each bundle the life of the universe rested, waiting until it was sung into life. Spider named each of these beings. One she named Exits Iti, and the other she named Nauts Iti. They were not human beings, but supernatural beings. They did not have physical bodies because they were much vaster than even a planet or even a star. And a star couldn't contain all they were and knew all they thought. Spider told each of them that they were to make more beings so that the song could go on, and that she and the power could share the beauty with more and more beings. She told them they would take from their pouches a part of the song and would sing it into fullness, into ripeness. And they would need to sing the mystery in the way of thought to bring their lives in their bundles into being. They understood her directions because they were the song and the mystery, all of it, and only a small piece of it. It was much vaster than they, and yet they could sing it into different shapes of being, different ways of singing, different parts of the great being song. Exits Iti began to sing a new chant. Way-a-hi-yo, 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 way-a-way-a-yo. She sang and sang, thinking her bundle, and around them, as she sang swirling, whirling globes of light began to form. They began pushing outward in a great whirling spiral, a great wheeling multitude of stars, all singing as they circled and wheeled like great geese upon the void. As they spiraled outward, they grew larger and brighter. Around and around the still, invisible center where Spider Exits Iti and Nauts Iti sang. The world, the outer ones flinging themselves farther and farther from the center, great arms forming in the spiral dance, following the lines of song, the lines of power, reaching out farther and farther into the mystery, carrying the song and their light in their fingers, making both the darkness and the light as they danced, finding the power coming to them from the darkness, flinging it out from them in the light. The power danced in the void, in the light, in the midnight reaches of the gleaming dark. It sang. Then Itli began to sing to her bundle. Am I am I oh 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 am I oh 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 am I oh. The song changed again as Spider and Ixitsiti joined her song, and from the brilliant globes of light new shapes spun out, dancing around and around the lights, giving shape and solidity to the darkness, carrying the spin of the song into new places, more solid, more full. The planets sang, new beings awakening, joining their heart song. The power shaped and dipped, wheeled and danced, and over vast reaches it took on forms it hadn't known. Satisfied with their work, Spider turned to her granddaughters, those supernatural beings, and she smiled as she chanted. In their begetting, they would make many worlds, and upon some of them, human beings would sing in the same way that she and her granddaughter sisters sang. And on those same worlds, feathered beings would swoop and wheel as the giant fires around her did, and on them life would press its way from the place of the spider, singing into the place of individual songs. And that would be far away from the place where the three stood, and it would be right among them as they stood and sang in the void, surrounded by wheeling lights and the great swooping dark. That is one of my favorite tellings of Spider. I know I have shared this on more than one occasion. I know that I have talked about Spider in my journey. Let me remind you. I was in the lower world, moving from one place to another place, and I looked down and I saw this little spider crawling along. And I asked Spider, "May I give you a ride? Surely it will go faster." That's what I thought. So I picked up Spider and I put Spider on my shoulder and I began to walk. And next thing I know, I was on top of Spider. And wherever Spider went, wherever her feet went, the earth and time rippled underneath her. When I heard that story of Grandmother Spider and heard the story of the rippling, or understood the rippling, it reminded me of my journey so many years before with Spider, and that Spider was able to wrinkle time, to move time differently. Over the years, my relationship with Spider is one of reverence and great awe. Spider has taught me many stories about the universe and about the world I live in. Spiders come in many shapes. They all have 8 legs, much like scorpions. All arachnids have 8 legs. Spiders have the ability to cut their legs off or mutilate and have 7 legs, some even 6 legs. So the spider teaches me about the ability to adapt to the changes in my body, the ability to adapt to the change in how motion comes, the ability to adapt after great wounds and losses, the ability. Spider takes me more often into the upper worlds, and Spider has shown me her great web, and it is golden. And the strands connect one star to the next star to the next star. The entire galaxy is a spider's web. And when I lay outside at night and I look up to the sky, especially when I'm not inside the city, I can see with my eyes the strands between the stars. And I can see with my eyes the spider web above me that Spider has shown me in the spirit world. She has taught me how to walk gently upon her web, for her web has sticky parts, and her web has parts that are not sticky. Reminding me of life, sometimes the outer edges of our web, the outer edges of our self, are porous and allow things in. But as we come closer and closer to the center, where we need to find something to nourish us, or to protect the web from being broken, we have sticky parts. So the closer somebody gets, we decide how close that individual becomes. Sometimes my energy, if I'm moving outside in a large group, is sticky like a spider's web. So whatever is coming at me sticks to the web, but doesn't come to me. The spider's web also teaches me about the vibrations from one to the next, from not only one world to the next, but one species to the next, one leaf to the next leaf. The spider's web can be a thin, thin strand to a massive undertaking of silk that looks like dew weighing deeply upon the plants in the white, shadowy, and murky cottonous gauze-like material. Spider teaches me to go small into the small places, and yet as the singer and the being of creation, she teaches me to see all around, and that my vision is only as limited as I allow it to be. But if I close my eyes and I sing my songs or I hum my vibrations, I can feel the strands go further and further beyond what my physical eye or my physical body could perceive. The songlines in the Australian Aborigine traditions, and I wish to speak no wrongs, I wish to offend nobody who is Australian and Australian Aborigine if I misquote the songlines or misunderstand the songlines. Please feel free to correct me if I do. My understanding of the songlines is that it connects one group to another group to another group. And one very, very, very tiny aspect of the songlines are one generation, one group of the family learns the song of the particular, I'm going to use an example, sings a song about the particular lake, its beginning, what it means, all of the words and the songs that have been passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation. And when they meet somebody from another tribe or from another group of people and they sing their songs, my understanding is that there are words similar enough at the end of the song very similar to the other singer's beginning of the song, that the song then continues, changes and morphs and moves down through the continent of Australia. Now, whether the entire continent of Australia is connected by songlines, I do not know. But I find that very fascinating and reminds me of the spider's web. The songs, even in and of itself, are very important to sing something into existence. Spider is also that which teaches us to respect the ability of an outside source to hold our weight. Spiders climb upon the thinnest strands of silk as deftly as they climb upon the leaves or the shoots of grass. So an outside source is supporting them. Much like as you walk on the earth or you walk on the bridge, an outside source is supporting you, a source or an object separate of yourself. But Spider teaches me that I can interact and I can, in beauty, I can enfold, I can bring close to me by using my own web, by using my own weaving, by creating my own tapestry, my own beauty of the web. So in my web, I can bring the energy of the tree closer to me by creating a strand between my heart and the heart of the tree, by releasing a strand from my heart to the heart of lion, by releasing many strands from my heart to the hearts of my family. Spider teaches us and teaches me that one vibration on the very edge of the web leads to vibrations throughout the entire web, reminding me that whatever is outside still has the ability to affect the inside. Whether it be in the form of a physical action like a car accident, or the physical action of a token of kindness from a stranger to an action of love expressed by a loved one, or the hope of love expressed by a hopeful lover. All relations are webs and woven strands between us and them. Spider and her daughters of form and formlessness, and singing together, singing different songs to create form from formlessness, reminds me of the medicine wheel. The bundle in the northeast and the crinkling of time in the northwest. If I look at the medicine wheel from west to north, really is that time of moving from that life, death to death, sojourn in the world of death to the thoughtfulness of death life, coming again from north to east. And in the northeast, where the bundles of creation, on the northeast section of the medicine wheel, is also that web of dangerous time, that web of the darkness turning to light and the multitude shades of gray. And in that multitude shades of gray in the northeast, where the one bundle of power sits, on the other side of the medicine wheel, my spirits have taught me that that is the place that spirits enter that may be unknown to you. So in your blind spot, in your periphery, not in your six, but in the blind spot on your periphery. The story of the spider as being the creator of the galaxies and the ability to create moving beyond the galaxies reminds me, not that I've traveled galaxies beyond galaxies with this conscious self, but that my journeys can create ripples, and I can journey from this place to another place to another place to another place. Spider being the great creator reminds me that even if I don't see a connection between one thing to another thing, if I look long enough, or even try to create my own web, perhaps I can connect things that are not necessarily connected, and perhaps I never can. So when I started shamanism, it was just shamanism, and there was no neuroscience of shamanism at that point in time. And I've talked about Dr. Henry Winkleman, who is a neuroscientist who has started to study the neuropsychology of shamanism. So we have two branches of the world tree coming together, so closely woven, at a time when I'm sure even the most optimistic spiders didn't see the connection between in-depth, complicated science with in-depth, complicated spirituality coming together to actually be able to be measured and to be able to be assessed within that measurement as to XYZ, value of XYZ. So spider also teaches us to keep trying. Spider teaches us by putting webs in the middle of the trail to perceive our steps, watch our steps, move with our steps. How many times have you been walking through the trees and gotten your face covered with spider web? Well, I know I have on a number of occasions. And one time, walking in a forest in Belize with my daughter and her then boyfriend, we were very aware of the spiders that are in a tropical place in Central America. And I dead stopped in the middle of the trail because I had seen evidence of spider webs. And so Spider was reminding me, watch your steps, perceive the path ahead of you. Don't just walk on the path, perceive the path ahead of you. And when we open our eyes and we perceive, we see many other aspects. The spider has the ability for fractal imaging. The spider has ability for multiple images. So we too have the ability to maintain multiple sights. So we have the ability to see the different types of foliage. We have the ability to see the shadows and the lights within that foliage. We have the ability to see the reflection of a rainbow, the fractal light upon the spider's web itself, alerting us to a subtle shift in the fractal images around us. Spider teaches us with that fractal image, with that ability to see multiple things when we enter into the spirit world, to be able to perceive multiple ways. In this plane, in this existence, utilizing and being conscious of the senses that we use, not only the 5 primary senses, but the intuitive sense, the intuitive ear, the intuitive eye, the intuitive voice, like all aspects of us can exist simultaneously, and we can be aware of as much as we practice being aware of. We have the ability to shift and to change, much like the grandmother spirit was able to shift, manipulate, and change her world. We have the ability as spiders or as creators of our own world to shape, shift, and manipulate the world within our own grasp. Not entirely, not the whole world, but certainly aspects of our own life. And some of us manifest huge, and some of us do create our own realities, and some of us create smaller realities than others. But that's a whole other topic. Spider is a solid and respected friend. Spider is a solid and beloved being. Spider is a creator. Spider reminds us that we have the ability to move beyond ourselves. Spider reminds us that we can travel the worlds. We can create the finest connection between this place and that place, between this thing and that thing. And in creating that space, that time, that place, we can move from one direction to another direction. And that's enticing. It's encouraging. We need hope. In this world that we live in, we need hope. And Spider brings us hope. Spiders hibernate. Spiders recreate. Spiders carry thousands of babies upon their back. Reminds me of the thousands of thoughts you have, the thousands of ideas you have. Not all of them are going to make it to full-grown spiders. Some of them don't even make it out of the egg reality. Some of them barely make it to the first hour or breath. Be compassionate with yourself. Spider never runs out of eggs, well, until the spider's dead, or the spider is male, then that's a whole other story. But I'm speaking of the spider from a feminine perspective. I haven't really thought of the spider from a masculine perspective or male perspective. Not because it doesn't exist, but because the male has not been a part of my teaching with spider. But as I conclude this, I ponder that perhaps I should explore more the male side of the spider. Perhaps I should look at that aspect as well and see if I can find stories to the male spider. If I do, or if you know of any and would like to share them with me, you can. Perhaps a second podcast or a second discussion on spider may be in the works or may be worth it. I don't know. But thank you for your kind attention, and thank you for your wonderful ears as I have taken you through a story and the mental meanderings of my relationship with Spider. Spider has been a beautiful teacher for me over the years, and although not a constant companion, certainly if I take the time to look around me, I can always see the influence of Spider in my life. Perhaps you, too, can take a look around and see the influence of Spider not only in your life, but perhaps the natural environment you live in, whether on your houseplants, whether on the lawn, whether in the trees and the woods you walk in, or in your neighbor's backyard. Until next time, I wish you the happiest of whatever kind of blessings or energies or reception of said good things that you have. And thank you for listening. Thank you for lending me your ear. I look forward to our next meeting and our next chapter on the exploration of shamans and Shaman's Way.
Thank you again for joining us here on the Shaman's Way podcast. If you have any questions, would like to make a request for a future episode, or if you're looking for other shamanic resources, including free drumming tracks, please visit us at shamansway.net. Until the next episode, be well, everyone.